Hi, I'm Madison Moore.
I'm Lena Richardson.
And I'm Rehema Barber.
And today we're at the KIA Art Museum. And we know that you're a curator. What is a curator and when did you become one?
Oh my goodness, that's a deep question. They started real hard off the bat. I appreciate that. Thank you. A curator is someone that helps collect and organize and display artworks or objects or items. Sometimes you can have curators that they work with music or instruments too. In this case, I work with art. And I have been doing this, I've been at the KIA for 6 years in April, so next month is my anniversary. But I've been doing this for over 20 years now.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's crazy.
It is. Time flies when you do something that you love and you're passionate about. I can totally attest to that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I know you've been a curator for 20 or so years. Was being a curator the first job you wanted, or did you think about doing something else when you were growing up?
Oh, absolutely. I thought about a lot of different things. I wanted to be a journalist. I was really into writing and actually worked for my school newspaper. I was also a musician at one point. I played the violin for all of my childhood through high school. But my big thing that I wanted to do was be a lawyer. I was part of they called it the Panther Bar Association, and we did mock trials. And I learned how to do research about a case and argue. We actually did mock trials in front of real judges and had real lawyers that were advisors, and my uncle was a lawyer. So yes, I literally came home one day and told everybody that I was no longer going to law school and had decided instead to work in museums.
Where are you from and what was your childhood like?
Okay, so I was born in Chicago, but I was raised in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania as well. So between Harrisburg and Chicago, my parents and I were, my dad was in Chicago and my mom was in Harrisburg. So I split a lot of time between there as a kid. And the other question was what was I like as a kid? Yeah. Okay. Oh, goodness. My childhood was very creative. I was an only child, or I am an only child, and so my parents always wanted me to entertain myself. They were you figure out what you're gonna do with yourself. And so I made up a lot of things. I read a lot. I was always in something, whether I don't remember a time where I wasn't doing art, or I wasn't doing music, or I wasn't dancing or horseback riding or something. So I was always busy as a kid.
Okay, so as you've grown up from when you were a kid to now, was there a quote you ever went by in your life?
Oh gosh. Yeah. If you don't at first succeed, try again. I think that one of the biggest things that you can do is fail in life and learn from it. So if it doesn't work that first time, that doesn't mean that you just let it go. It means that you need to sit down and think about what went wrong and what you would do differently and how you would approach it if it happened again.
What is your most proudest moment of being a curator?
Oh gosh. I have to be honest and say I've been really blessed to have a lot of amazing, fantastic moments as a curator. But I would really say that one of my moments here that have been my proudest was just recently when we opened a show called Sourced from the Zoo. A lot of the work that I do is rooted in community building. I feel really strongly, that's why I got into museums, is because I want to build community. I feel really strongly about how museums can help people connect with one another and see things differently. And so Sourced from the Zoo is a show that's sourced from the people of Kalamazoo. Everybody was invited to participate. You could have been your age or younger or older, or you just had to live in Kalamazoo. And we did not want to exclude anybody, and we worked with other partners around this city. And I feel so humbled by the fact that people wanted to participate, that people were open to showing some of the things that are in our homes, which are really like their personal spaces to us, right? So when you bring something out from their personal space into like a more public space, it shows a vulnerability. And I think when we're vulnerable with one another, that means that we can be truthful, and that we can show one another love, and we can celebrate each other. So yes.
Okay, so I know you have to like get all the art for the museum. Do you think you can tell us how you buy the art for KIA?
Oh gosh, yes, that's a process. So what happens is typically we identify, like for instance, we identify like an artist that we want to work with, or that we would like in our collection. A lot of it starts with research, which is interesting. I know you would think like, oh, I see this and then I just want this painting or I want this sculpture. That's not what happens at all. It really is research based, and we determine if it actually fits within our collection. So even though I might see something and say, I really like this, I have to also be very much thinking about what other objects in our collection that it speaks to. It can't just be something that I want. And I need to also be talking about like how we intend to use it within the public, for the public, like how I would want the public to engage with the work, how I would see the work being used by the school, what would we do, like what exhibits we would put it in or what we would write about it. So it's a lot of research. And then what happens after that is once we put that report together, and say like, this is really what we want and what it speaks to, then it goes before a committee of people, and we have to present that. They read the report, and then we have a discussion about it, and then we get approval to either purchase it or get approval for it to come in as a gift, because sometimes people gift us things. And sometimes, it's something that. And so after that, then they vote on it, the committee votes, and then we either go and we pay for the object, or we let the person that has donated the object know that it's been accepted into the collection. Yeah, it's a long process. It takes forever, actually.
Who and what inspired you to become the person you are today?
Oh, gosh. Well, I have to give a lot of credit to my parents. My mom and dad are really been so important to me. And even when I told them that I was going to work in museums, not once did my parents tell me, no, I couldn't do that. What they said was, we know if you're going to do it, that you will make your way. And that was probably the thing that has pushed me the most to do what I do, is because I know that my parents have so much faith in me. And if I hadn't had that faith, I don't think that I would be here today.
Yeah. So you've shown a bunch of art throughout your life. What do you think it was your favorite or the one you were most proud of?
Oh, goodness. Well, I have to tell you, there's this show I did when I was, what was this? Let me think about this. What year is this? This is 2025. Oh gosh, this was 17 years ago. Wow. There's an artist, her name is Sheila Prebright, and she is an amazing photographer based in Atlanta. And she was doing a work about millennials, people that were born in this group of like sort of the 2000s, like 2000s and on would be called millennials. and she was having them take portraits or take photographs of, she was taking photographs of them with the flag, the American flag, and asking them what it meant to be an American. So at this point, like when we were doing it, the millennials were like almost your age, and they were posing with the flag, and they were talking about how it felt to be American, how much they were learning as young people themselves. And it was such an instrumental project because it made me think that it was really the moment that I really understood that this was the work I wanted to be doing that would build community, was to actually talk to people, that to talk to people and to help people see that, like, the youth, you all have such an interesting viewpoint, and that we should pay attention to the youth, and that we should listen to you more. Because I think from that's really what has driven me, like, even now, to continue to do this work. Because, like, these young people were just like, I'm proud to be an American because it means that I can be free to be who I am as a person. I'm proud to be an American because my parents came here and they worked really hard to, build our house and to build our business. And so it was really important to learn that.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tate traveled the world a couple times. What would be a place that you would like to travel?
Oh, goodness. Well, I've traveled a lot, but the place that I haven't been yet that I really want to go to West Africa. I haven't been to Ghana or Nigeria, and I've heard a lot about Accra. So I'm trying to get there, and it's really funny. I've actually scheduled a couple of times to go, and then the trips have been canceled. So I am going to get there one of those days. I will, because I feel like that it's going to be an important moment for me to put my feet on that soil and remember that my ancestors came from those shores.
All right, so just like Ms. Tate, she's gone through a bunch of challenges in her life. Do you think there's any challenges you've gone through that probably set you back and you had to bounce back from them, or just any challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had challenges all along the way. I mean, you know what? I remember at one point I moved from another job to another job in Memphis, and things didn't go the way I had planned them. And I had to really learn from that. I learned a lot of lessons about myself and having fortitude and knowing that when I hold the truth, that's important for me to tell. And I also would say that I learned new skills. I learned how I could, pivot and grow, even though something bad was happening. I could also be like, okay, something good could happen at the same time. And I also, again, like, go back to what you asked me, was there like a principle about, like, a quote that I like living by, but like, I just kept trying. Even though I kind of felt like, oh man, this thing went really differently than what I had planned, I didn't 100% give up, and I continued to have faith, and I continued to try and do the work that I was wanting to do. But it was hard, and I'm gonna be honest and tell you, when it's hard, that's when you look to your circle, because we don't exist by ourselves. Right? So, like, if it hadn't been for key people like parents and friends and family saying, okay, this is what your dream is, we know you have this capacity. It wasn't just me saying I'm bouncing back. It really was friends and family and other people in my circle that lifted me up. So make sure you surround yourself with people that lift you up too.
Okay, thank you.
One last question. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't do everything everywhere and all at once. Sometimes it feels like I do a lot of different things all at once, everywhere and all at once. And I think that my younger self was really thinking that I had to accomplish all of these things by a certain age. Like at 20, I'm gonna do this. At 30, I'm gonna do this, or 15 or whatever. And it's important to set goals, but don't benchmark them based off of your age. Maybe make goals based off of, that should be time-based, but don't root them in your age, because you could accomplish anything no matter how old you are. You could be 100 and do something great, or you could be 10 and do something great. So it's not age isn't what matters. It's time, and it's also continuing to be focused on what your goal is.
Okay, so thank you for letting us interview you, and thank you from the Murray State Explorers.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.